Friends, we can all see that many white bloggers have millions of followers. Please support me too, because my followers are still few. Black bloggers also deserve to be famous. Raise fist medium dark skin tone. My friends, let's unite and lift each other up. Please press subscribe button and like. Colonel Zara Thompson stood at the forefront of a movement that had transformed her community and sparked a nationwide conversation about police accountability. The Thompson-Carter Police Accountability Act had been passed, but Zara knew that the real work was just beginning. As she prepared to return to her military duties, she felt a renewed sense of purpose, ready to continue to fight for justice and equality. In the weeks following the Act's passage, Zara dedicated herself to implementing the reforms outlined in the legislation. She organized community forums, inviting residents to share their experiences and concerns about policing in Maplewood Heights. The response was overwhelming. People from all walks of life came forward, eager to participate in the dialogue and contribute to the change they wanted to see. One evening, as Zara sat in her living room, reviewing notes for an upcoming forum, her phone buzzed with a message from Dr. Samuel Carter. "Zara, we need to talk. There's been a development," it read. Intrigued, she quickly replied, asking him to meet her at the local cafe. When Zara arrived, she found Dr. Carter already seated at a corner table, his expression serious. "I've been hearing whispers about some officers in the department who are unhappy with the changes," he said, lowering his voice. "They feel threatened by the new oversight and accountability measures." Zara frowned, her mind racing. "What do you mean? Are they planning something?" "I'm not sure, but I've heard rumors of pushback. Some officers are resistant to the training programs and community engagement initiatives. They believe it undermines their authority," Dr. Carter explained. Zara leaned back in her chair, contemplating the implications. "We can't let fear dictate our progress. We need to address their concerns head-on and show them that this isn't about undermining authority. It's about building trust." Dr. Carter nodded. "Exactly. But we need to be strategic. If we can get some of the officers on board, it might help sway the others." Zara's mind was already working through potential solutions. "Let's organize a joint meeting with community leaders and police representatives. We can create a space for open dialogue, where both sides can express their concerns and work toward common ground." As they discussed the details, Zara felt a sense of determination wash over her. She had faced down the system before, and she was ready to do it again. The fight for justice was not just about her. It was about the entire community. The following week, Zara and Dr. Carter hosted a meeting at the community center. They invited local leaders, residents, and police representatives, hoping to foster constructive conversation. As the attendees filed in, Zara felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. This was a crucial moment for the future of Maplewood Heights. Once everyone was seated, Zara stood up to address the crowd. "Thank you all for coming today. We're here to have an honest conversation about the changes happening in our community and how we can work together to ensure everyone feels safe and respected." The room buzzed with murmurs, and Zara could see the tension in some of the officers' faces. She continued, "I know there are concerns about the new accountability measures, but I want to emphasize that this is not about undermining your authority. It's about building trust and ensuring that every member of our community feels heard and valued." Officer Blake, one of the officers who had initially confronted Zara, raised his hand. "With all due respect, Colonel, some of us feel like these changes are being forced upon us without our input. We want to do our jobs effectively, but we also need to feel supported." Zara nodded, appreciating his honesty. "I understand, and that's why we're here. We want to hear your concerns and work together to find solutions that benefit everyone. What specific changes do you feel are problematic?" As the discussion unfolded, Zara listened intently as officers voiced their fears and frustrations. They spoke about feeling underappreciated and over-scrutinized, and Zara recognized the importance of validating their experiences. "Your concerns are valid," she said, her tone empathetic. "But we also need to recognize that the community has been asking for change for a long time. It's not about blame. It's about collaboration. We can create a system that works for both the police and the community." The dialogue continued, and slowly, the atmosphere began to shift. Officers started to share their ideas for improving community relations, and residents expressed their willingness to support the police in their efforts. Zara facilitated the conversation, ensuring that everyone had a voice. By the end of the meeting, Zara felt a sense of hope. They had laid the groundwork for a new partnership between the police and the community, one built on mutual respect and understanding. As attendees began to leave, Zara caught Officer Blake's eye. He approached her, a tentative smile on his face. "Thank you for facilitating this, Colonel. I think we made some real progress today," he said. Zara smiled back, feeling a sense of camaraderie. "We're all in this together. Let's keep the conversation going." In the weeks that followed, Zara continued to work closely with both the community and the police department. They organized joint training sessions, where officers learned about implicit bias and community engagement, while residents participated in workshops on understanding law enforcement protocols. The collaboration fostered a sense of unity that had been missing for far too long. However, not everyone was on board with the changes. Zara received anonymous threats warning her to back off from her advocacy work. While the messages were unsettling, they only fueled her determination to push forward. She knew that change was often met with resistance, but she was prepared to face whatever challenges lay ahead. One evening, as Zara was reviewing documents at home, her phone buzzed with a message from Dr. Carter. "We need to meet. There's been a serious incident involving some officers," it read. Alarmed, Zara quickly replied, asking him to meet her at the cafe again. When she arrived, Dr. Carter looked grave. "There was an altercation last night between some officers and a group of teenagers in the neighborhood. It escalated quickly, and now there are calls for accountability," he explained. Zara's heart raced. "What happened?" "Reports indicate that the officers used excessive force during the encounter. The community is outraged and they're demanding answers," Dr. Carter said, his voice heavy with concern. Zara felt a surge of anger and frustration. "This is exactly what we've been trying to prevent. We need to act quickly to address the situation before it spirals out of control." They quickly devised a plan to hold a community meeting to address the incident. Zara knew that transparency was crucial in rebuilding trust. The following evening, she stood before a packed room of concerned residents, ready to confront the situation head-on. "Thank you all for coming," Zara began, her voice steady. "I know many of you are upset about the recent incident involving our police officers. I want to assure you that we are taking this matter seriously. We will investigate the situation thoroughly and hold those responsible accountable." The crowd murmured, some expressing their anger and frustration. Zara listened intently, acknowledging their feelings. "I understand your pain and anger. We are committed to ensuring that this doesn't happen again. We need to work together to create a safer environment for everyone." As the meeting progressed, Zara encouraged open dialogue, allowing residents to voice their concerns and share their experiences. The atmosphere was charged, but Zara remained calm, guiding the conversation toward constructive solutions. By the end of the night, Zara felt a renewed sense of purpose. The community was ready to stand together, demanding accountability and change. They formed a coalition to monitor police practices and ensure that the reforms outlined in the Thompson-Carter Act were implemented effectively. The following weeks, Zara worked tirelessly alongside the coalition, attending meetings with police officials and advocating for the community's needs. The pressure from the public and the media forced the police department to take the allegations seriously, leading to an internal investigation. As the investigation unfolded, Zara remained vigilant, ensuring that the community's voice was heard throughout the process. She organized rallies and forums, empowering residents to share their stories and demand justice. Finally, after weeks of pressure, the police department announced the results of the investigation. Several officers were found to have violated department policies, and disciplinary actions were taken. The community erupted in a mix of relief and anger, knowing that while progress had been made, there was still much work to be done. Zara stood at the forefront of the movement, her resolve stronger than ever. She knew that the fight for justice was ongoing, but she also recognized the power of community and the importance of standing together. As she looked out at the faces of her neighbors, she felt a sense of pride. They had come together to demand change, and they were making a difference. The salute that had once symbolized her defiance now represented hope and resilience for an entire community, and the months that followed, Zara continued to advocate for police reform, working tirelessly to ensure that the changes they had fought for were implemented effectively. She knew that the journey was far from over, but she was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As she stood at the podium during a community event, Zara addressed the crowd with passion. Together, we have shown that our voices matter. We have the power to create change, and we will not back down. This is just the beginning of our journey toward justice and equality. The crowd erupted in applause, and Zara felt a surge of hope. They were no longer just a community. They were a movement, united in their pursuit of justice. And as she looked toward the future, she knew that they would continue to stand tall, seeking justice for all.